Hi students, 12th standard accountancy, chapter 1, illustration sum number 12. From the following particulars, prepare bills receivable account and compute the bills received from the debtors. The particulars are given here, that is opening bills receivable, closing bills receivable, cash received, bills receivable, dishonored. Before we are going to prepare the bills receivable account, we need to know the format of the bills receivable account. Okay. This is the format of the bills receivable account. Always started we have to write the heading, that is bills receivable account. Okay, so like ledger account, bills receivable has two sides, that is the debtor side and creditor side. Okay, debtor side has two columns, that is particulars and rupees. Creditor side also have two columns, that is particulars and rupees. Like ledger account, we have to prepare the bills receivable account. Okay, in ledger account we always started opening balance on debit side, right? So like ledger account, bills receivable account also started with opening balance. We have to write to balance drawdown. Always started the word to on debit side and buy on credit side. So opening balance we always started on debit side. You have to write opening balance as to balance drawdown. Okay, let's go for credit side. On credit side you have to write by cash account or by bank account. Within a bracket you have to write bills receivable honored. Listen, before that, what is meant by bills receivable account? A bills receivable is a document when you sold goods on credit to your customer or your debtor. On that time your customer or your debtor formally agreed to pay to you in some future date with his signature, in that document. On that document is called as bills receivable. Okay, so bills receivable is a current asset. It's like a cash. Okay, so when you received cash or when you received cash through bank, you have to write on creditor side by cash account or by bank account. You have to write within the bracket bills receivable honored. Okay, then by sundry debtors account. On credit side you have to write by sundry debtors account. Within the bracket you have to write bills received dishonored. Why you have here, you listen. Your customer formally agreed to pay a cash on some future date with his signature, that in a document. That document is called as bills receivable, right? When on that future date, what your debtors mentioned the document, on the same date you deposited that bill into your bank account. Okay, then that bill was cleared, then that bill was passed, then you received a cash. Okay, so you have to write by cash, or you received a cash through bank, you have to write by bank account on creditor side. Within the bracket you will write bills receivable honored because that bill was passed. Okay, then listen, in the other case, you sold goods to your customer on credit, so your debtors formally agreed to pay at that amount in some future date with his signature in a document. Then that document is called as bills receivable, right? On the mentioned date you deposited that bill into your bank account. On the date that bill was dishonored. Okay, so the bill was not cleared, or that bill was dishonored. Okay, that bill was bounced, so you didn't receive cash from your debtors. Okay, so you have to write within the bracket bills receivable dishonored because you didn't any cash from your debtors through bills receivable. Okay, so you have to write by sundry debtors account. Within the bracket you have to write bills receivable dishonored. Then you have to write closing balance on credit side. You have to write by balance carried down. Within the bracket you have to write closing balance. Okay, so on credit side you have the total, you will get the total on credit side. Debit side you have the difference balance. Okay, then that balance is called Sunday debtors to Sunday debtors account. This is the balancing figure. Okay, bills receivable received during the year, right? So this is transferred into the total debtors account. So this is the format of the bills receivable, very simple format. Then with that format you have to prepare that bills receivable account for illustration 12. Okay, so first you have to write bills receivable account, and the format is debtor and creditor side, two sides we have. On creditor side we have two columns, particular rupees, and creditor side we have particular rupees. So we prepare the written heading and the format. Then opening balance. Opening bills receivable 20,000 rupees. Opening balance always started on debit side. Okay, of the bills receivable account we have to write to balance brought on. That means opening balance of the bills receivable 20,000 entered, and closing bills means we will write in finally. Before that, cash received for bills receivable 60,000 rupees you have to write on credit side. By cash account 60,000 entered, and bills receivable dishonored. So this is goes to credit side. You have to write by Sunday debtors account 5,000. Within the bracket you have to write bills receivable dishonored, because that mentioned date debtors has not sufficient fund in his bank account. So when you deposited that mentioned date into your bank account, that bill was not cleared, that bill was dishonored. You didn't get any cash through bank, okay, or from your debtors. So this bills receivable dishonored you have to write on credit side. Okay, so then finally you have to write closing bills receivable 30,000 you have to write here. By balance carry down. Okay, 30,000 entered. We get the total on credit side, we get the balance on debit side. Then balance is called to debtors account. Within the bracket you have to write bills received during the year balancing figure. This is the balancing figure. Okay, balancing figure how much rupees? 75,000 rupees. So bills receivable and we prepared the bills receivable account. Thank you.